change your life?
Yeah.
Who knows what this is?
Chicken.
I showed them where all the nice cuts of meat came off the chicken, and then you're left with a carcass with all the ribs and the little bits of giblets and blood and skin and stuff like that. So I'm going to tell you a little story about how you can use all the leftover bits to make food. And watch me. Some of the processed foods that you love are made from the bits you don't like. Bone, all the connective tissues, little bits of bone marrow and stuff like that. They even add chicken skin. Put a load of chicken skin in here as well. You've got to put loads of stuff in it, you know, flavouring in there to make it taste of something nice instead of something horrible. You can get a cutter and cut out our very own patty, just like that. Put some breadcrumbs on it. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, our very own patty. Now, who would still eat this? So let me simplify it for you. We currently have regulations that protects junk food advertising to kids up until 6 p.m. What we've proved is that's not where the kids are. The kids are on screens, they're on their phones, and they're watching the big shows like Britain's Got Talent, X Factor, and then if you kind of watch a whole season, by the end of that season, you've watched a whole feature film length amount of junk food advertising, and under the circumstances of British kids being some of the most unhealthy in Europe, is that okay logically, rationally? And the answer's, you know, no. So it's not saying that advertisers can't advertise, it's saying what they advertise can't just be the unhealthy options. So for instance, if you took a brand of soda, let's not mention the name, they can advertise the diet versions, but not necessarily the high sugar versions, or and it could be equivalent in any other sort of thing. So it's not.
Is it going to happen? Do you think we're going to get attacked?
People often measure me on did you get it or didn't you? Is it or isn't it? I think a good, if the British public don't want it, they shouldn't have it. But if the British public of any type can look in the mirror in the morning when they're brushing their teeth and saying, by the way, that NHS that's being crippled, right? Like we've got to get much more medieval on this situation now. And if you're robbing from Peter to pay Paul, and the Paul is the nurses and doctors, surgeons, kids and teachers of Britain, then that's, in my book, fair dues. The industry don't want you to have clarity. When you give clarity to the British public, they make good choices. Most vulnerable communities, we've got a massive problem. And if you talk to anyone from the NHS, doctors, dentists, paediatricians, you know, they're all pulling their hair out.
Because you're very clear that you worked with the previous government of David Cameron and progress was made. Not so much now.
Well, if I can just paint a picture. I worked with Mr Cameron on what would have been the first childhood obesity strategy. It was already looking good, and in my opinion, my job was to try and get the little extra bits over the edge at the end. We were 48 hours, literally, we're trying to rush it through. 48 hours away from getting that through, and of course, Brexit happened, Mrs May took control, and then a really sad version of what was going to be done. This is, darling, it's onions. No, sit down.
Is it leek?
Not a leek, no. I can't believe it. I think I'm going to pass out.
Kiwi?
A kiwi? And making sure that they're healthy when they leave, for crying out loud, is is a basic necessity and right to every parent, whether the parents are thick as shit or not, you know. And as we all know, there's a lot of thick parents out there, but it doesn't mean they don't love their kids. Came to this very select committee. You know, it had this particular product had this much sugar in it. Okay, but this is what happened. Bearing in mind, the sugary drink tax is only active for 1 week, and this has happened. What we've seen, even in our first week, is 2 out of 3 soft drinks companies reduce and reformulate. Millennia has only got a lot worse, and I think to say it's a catastrophe or an emergency is fair and true. I think if you speak to anyone in the NHS, doctors, paediatricians, dentists, this is a massive problem. If you spoke to Mark Carney at the Bank of England, you know, is British kids and adults being unhealthy and less productive good for the economy or bad?
And what about, because a lot of children, you know, are watching, viewing things online, on social media. There's so much advertising that comes around those forums as well. And the thing is, we know too well how hard that market is to police. The government can't even take away fake advertising, let alone the real stuff.
Well, look, we're in a time now where the conversation around data and getting your message to the right audience. Look, if you're trying to sell a product, you can be very specific about who you target. And what this letter is about is that it's not right, it's not morally right to target children. So whether it's a screen, whether it's a programme, or actually even like I was walking to work the other day and the new digital bus stop signs, you know, it's very obvious and clear that they're targeting kids going to school at specific times, and then the adverts change. So I think, you know, all of this happens behind, you know, I think for the public and the parents watching today, I know they're busy, I know they hear a lot of this, but really it's about a concept of you want a government and you want activist groups and you want
breakfast. Can you pour out a like normal breakfast serving for bran flakes?
I mean, that is quite a blokey portion. To my bran flakes, I'm adding some milk, some low-fat lemon yoghurt, and berries. Lucy has picked products that we would think of as healthy and selected the brand with the highest sugar content.
Can I get you to guess how much free sugar is in your lovely breakfast there?
I've got no clue.
56.4 grams,
Doesn't sound great.
which in teaspoons is 14.1.
Oh, shit the bed. It's a cultural shift. It's a cultural shift, you know, ever since the Second World War, really. You know, whether it's fast food, whether it's frozen food, highly processed food, science, you know, just bigger companies, you know, sort of being able to get better, more strategic at selling high fat, high salt, high sugar products in ways that are fantastically, you know, buyable by the public at mass, buy one, get one free. I mean, the whole world's changed. One has to fight. The biggest killer, you know, in this country right now is diet-related disease. We can keep on looking and we can stroke it and be gentle and just like, you know, nah, but over my dead body, personally. If you look.
Bake Off, British Bake Off led to a surge in sugar sales as people are making cakes and things at home. Are we going to ban all of these? Or why pick on one?
Sugary sweetened drinks have earned the right to be focused on, and I'll tell you why. Because they are the single largest source of sugar in our children's and our teenagers' diet. I haven't said ban sugary sweetened drinks or ban anything.
You sell Cokes in
Absolutely, and that's kind of also symbolic. I think what I believe in is a sugary drinks tax, a possible £1 billion raised a year, hypothecated and spent in the NHS on proactive initiatives.
School dinners are in a deepening crisis, with a diet of fatty processed food threatening our children's health, and the government doesn't seem to have the answers.
I wouldn't fucking feed that to my dog. I would feed it to my dog, but I mean, I wouldn't feed it to my mate. Certainly not my kids.
Jamie Oliver is determined to prove there can be better. So far, he's transformed the food in one London comprehensive. But he needs to show it will work on a big scale. He'll have to get dinner ladies in 60 schools cooking his food with the help of school cook Nora, and persuade the government to back it around the country.
I want us to have a fucking better, cooler, cleverer, healthier name. Because it comes in a nice packet and it's branded and they trust it and they're buying into a solution, you know? And I'll keep telling them and they're still doing it. Where, you know, is it child abuse? Not at the moment. Do I think it's child abuse? Yep. Yep. The damage on the inside, we might have put cigarette butts out on the kids, you know, it's you can't see what's on the inside.
Can see why people will say, who is this guy who serves lovely desserts, loves cheese and serves all this lovely stuff in his restaurant? A third of the menu is red.
You can't compare 46 little restaurants doing what a restaurant's job is with the penetration of this industry, you know, that hijacked our Olympics and all of our sporting events.